up? Erica here. So today's video is a little bit different than what I was expecting. I got a request for a Q&A video. So I put up a poll on my Instagram not too long ago, and I wrote down 10 or so questions that I got off of that Instagram about my jiu-jitsu journey and my lifestyle. So let's hop right in and let me answer these questions for you. All right, so question number 1 is, why did you start BJJ? So I moved to Los Angeles from Colorado when I was 19, and after moving here, my parents both agreed that 1, I needed a hobby, and 2, they would sleep better if I knew some sort of martial art. So after lots of research, I came to the conclusion that I would like to try jiu-jitsu. It sounded like it would be the most street relatable. If I were to ever get in a fight and ended up on the ground, I should probably know what to do. So that is what brought me to my first jiu-jitsu class, and after 1 week I was completely hooked, and I have been training ever since. Number 2, what is your favorite submission? Favorite submission. I love the bow and arrow. That is my hands down favorite submission. I think it's probably my highest percentage submission as well. So I do love others, but I think my favorite and the one I hit most frequently would be the bow and arrow. Number 3, top or bottom game? Top. All the way. I am definitely a fan of passing. I get the most satisfaction out of passing. Believe it or not, out of passing, sweeping, and submitting, passing is my favorite. And I like to pass from on my feet. Number 4, how long have you been training? I have been training for 6 years this year. Number 5, is jiu-jitsu your job? Yes, it is. So I am the director of the school's kids program. I am the head coach for a gym here in Los Angeles. And on top of jiu-jitsu, I also am a personal trainer. Number 6 is, how do you eat? I am a very clean eater. I eat very clean all week long, and kind of my method on how I approach food is as simple and as natural as possible. Definitely helps me feel and perform the best. I do eat a ton of vegetables. I actually find myself eating vegetables in all 3 meals of the day. And the meat that I eat, usually only eat meat once a day or every other day, usually at dinner, and it's very lean meat. But yeah, primarily I eat a crap ton of vegetables. And on the weekends, I do like to splurge. I love breakfast, so I love to go out to breakfast and get pancakes. And then every Friday night or so, I do enjoy a beer. What is your training schedule? Well, right now it's quarantine and my gym is closed, which is a super bummer. So right now my training schedule is just trying to keep up with my fitness the best I can. I also like running and biking and swimming. I've done a triathlon in the past, and I really got hooked on those 3 endurance sports. So I've been doing a lot of cycling, a lot of running, a lot of like solo drills on a dummy. So currently I don't have a set jiu-jitsu schedule. Right before quarantine, we were 6 days out from Pan Am's, and I was training very heavily. So if I could go back to that kind of a schedule, I was weight training on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, first thing very early in the morning. And then I was doing a 12 o'clock class where I would train for an hour, and then I would do an hour of drills. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays was my heavy jiu-jitsu day, where I would do a drilling class in the morning at 11, and then I would do a really hard drill and sparring class in the evenings at 7:30. And then Saturdays and Sundays were my recovery day. I personally, for me, don't do very good if I do nothing. I find that if I do nothing and come back on Monday, it's really hard for me to kind of get in the rhythm. So I was in the habit of Saturdays I was swimming, and Sunday morning I was going for a light run and stretching. So I do train 7 days a week, but I do take a rest day whenever my body is definitely telling me to stop or slow down. But again, even on those days where I feel my body is really broken down, I'm still active in the sense where we go for walks, and I'm always constantly doing mobility and stretching. Number 8, do you have cauliflower ear? No, I do not have cauliflower ear, and yes, it is, I get the question all the time. I do train with that. I hide it. I've had it for a long time, actually both of them, and they have not, fingers crossed, they haven't bothered me yet, so hopefully it stays that way. Number 9 was how do you feel about competing? So for me personally, I love to compete, and the reason why I love to compete is I feel like I gain a lot of knowledge when I compete, no matter what. When I win, when I lose, when I have really good performances and really bad performances, I feel like it all just really helps me in my training. And not only does it help me with my training, but it helps me with my students. So I work with primarily kids, but I do work with a lot of fundamentals and white belts. So when I'm teaching classes and people ask me questions, I really feel that competing gives me a lot of experience and a lot of exposure to a lot of amazing athletes. And from those tournaments, it helps me take tools back to my students. And so for me, I love competing because I really see a higher purpose from it. And in a sense that it helps me help my students. Right, up next is, do you cross train? Yes, I do cross train. I'm a big fan of endurance sports, like I mentioned before. So I love to run, I love to swim, and I love to bike. But I did notice when I was training really heavily in all 3 of those things, while doing jiu-jitsu, I felt my body was breaking down. So as of late, I have been consistently weight training 3 times a week, swimming twice a week, and running once a week. And then that's on top of my jiu-jitsu schedule. And then I do mobility I do mobility every single day. So yes, I do cross train. And the last question of the day is, what is your biggest struggle with jiu-jitsu? And how do you handle it, or how do I handle that? And I think for me personally, I am super type A, and I like things done very efficiently and quickly and well done. So with jiu-jitsu, it requires a massive amount of patience, which is definitely something I had to learn, and it took me a while. So I know my first year of jiu-jitsu was very difficult for me, having that perfection kind of mindset in the beginning. It was really a struggle. I would leave most practices crying and really upset, and then one day I actually had a teammate ask me and say, you know, if you're leaving practice every single day crying, is this really the sport for you? And he suggested that I work on my patience. So work on my patience and being proud of the knowledge I have gained and the skill I have acquired. So I think for me, the biggest struggle is always just maintaining that mindset of being patient and just being accepting of myself and my body and my skill and where I am on that day. So for me, the constant struggle is just finding and maintaining patience with myself while on the mat. And that's all she wrote. So that was kind of fun, something a little bit different. Thank you guys for everyone who sent in their questions on Instagram. I really appreciate it. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, and I will see you guys for sure next week.